Good morning and welcome to this Monday AM's edition of Thought Provoking Change, brought to you by The Unscripted Event. Finally, an event that is planned by you and for you, coming up in February the 25th and 26th. So this morning's topic is more discussional than a teaching topic. It's winning or not losing. What is most important to you? Now, just like success, winning has multiple definitions to multiple people, and not losing does as well. So I'm curious to hear from you guys, what is most important to you, winning or not losing? And give us some sort of example of what you're basing this on. As an example, 3 years ago, I went out to bid several shopping centers. I was really excited about these. I had my heart set on them, and they would have paid, do you remember, Kate? 200 or 300 grand a year, something like that. And it would have, pardon me, would have been very minimal work in all reality. I knew I was getting those, and I had another company reach out to me, a restaurant company, and asked me to bid them. I had no interest. In all reality, I did not even want to do it. I bid it anyway because they would not leave me alone. They called me several times. Hey, are you still going to bid? Are you still going to bid? Like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So I did it. I remember at church one day, we were standing in our usher hurdle, and they said something about prayer requests. And I said, yeah. I said, I'm bidding two, sizable projects. And one of them, I know I'm going to get, the shopping centers. The other one, I don't even care about. That was the restaurant. Well, long story short, we did not win the shopping centers. And we did get what I knew we would not get, which was the restaurants, which also turned into nearly $1 million a year contract by itself. So we won what we didn't see coming, but it was not a loss by any stretch of the imagination. So what's more important to you guys, winning or not losing? Good morning, Jason and Nikki.
Morning.
Steve, I'm going to pick on you. This is a buddy that I've met at church. So we've known each other for a long time. And I'm sure that you guys have heard this from me as well. And this is the guy I got it from. Good morning, Steve. How are you doing?
Blessed and unstoppable.
Blessed and unstoppable. There it is.
That's right. I think there's a blessing in winning and there's a blessing in losing, and it's all perspective. I think some of the greatest lessons I've learned have been in the valley. That's propelled me to do better things and greater things. I'm a very competitive person, when it comes to bodybuilding stuff that I do, men's physique. I've always been that way my entire life. But I've learned to be a true champion, you have to understand what losses do. For me, I think so. Some people get defeated because they lost something, but I believe that there's always something good through the loss that you experience from the loss. Just like the win. To me, it's not always about winning. The reason why I'm on this call, because I want to continue to learn more from other people. I'm very an open-minded person, and honesty is the foundation of change, as far as I'm concerned. So I always use this analogy. I take a piece of paper and I tear it off. I say, well, this is how much I know. This is what I need to learn to know. So I don't have all the answers, but to answer your question, I for me personally, in my walk, I don't look at losses as defeat. I just look at it as a lesson that I'm going to learn to maybe help me grow in a different area. And I take the wins as they come, and I glorify God with the wins, because everything to me is centered with Him in my personal walk with Him. I don't take any credit. My business is very successful for what I've accomplished, and the few years I've been home. A lot of you guys don't know my back end story, but God is to me has restored everything that I've lost in my personal life. So I hope that was able to answer a little bit of your question.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome, Juanita. Welcome, Nikki. In fact, Nikki, I'm going to call on you next and send my happy birthday wishes to your love.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great morning, everyone. Jonathan, can you just give me that second piece? What do I?
Yeah. What's most important to you, winning or not losing?
So not losing is really more important. I love my failures to be able to see what I can work on, what I can, where are my strengths, what are my capabilities. And I really have to just say that that's when the magic happens. It's when you go through some stuff, you make decisions, and you kind of realize exactly, what works, what doesn't work. And it's the growth within that. And there's nothing better than, realizing, your true potential in that space. So yeah, I don't, no one likes to lose. Who likes to lose? We're all competitive in some way, shape, or form in our lives. But again, sometimes we have to hit those walls in order to wake up and make sure that we are making the decisions that we need to make moving forward. So that's my answer.
Awesome. Awesome. Baby, winning or not losing?
I definitely would say not losing. As competitive as I am, not nearly as competitive as you, but as competitive as I am, winning is not always my goal. We asked our kids last night, and our oldest daughter said, if you don't lose, you know that at least you didn't lose. And it wasn't about winning, it was about not losing in some fashion. And I know last week we talked about, I had talked about how when we talk about success and we compare ourselves to other people, if you're making strides to be the best version of yourself, then the competition should be more with yourself than others. And not losing, to me, is more of a personal thing than winning. Winning a lot of times involves other people versus not losing, where you're making strides for yourself.
Very cool. Mr. Dean Park, Hawaii. Winning or not losing, my friend?
Both. I think you kind of have a combination here. I mean, for me first, if I had to pick one, I like losing. And that sounds really, really crazy. I know it does, but here's the thing though. You can never win if you don't lose. So if you're always winning, I realized for one point in my life, I was constantly winning, and I felt good until you lost. And then I realized that when I was actually winning, I didn't really know that I was winning because I was playing at the game at my certain level. That when I lost that level, I realized I can go to a whole nother level. So the analogy I give even to Kai, my son, is this: is you can play football at a junior, like as a kid, then the next level you're going to go play is junior high. Then you play high school. And if you get at that level, you go to the top, which is the NFL, right? So my view in life is very simple, is that everything's a game. Life's a big game. At least this is why I look at it for me personally. Everything's a big game. So, and here's the thing, at the end of the day, if you think about a game, I mean, I hope I'll keep this really short, John. I won't take too much time, but is this stuff. At the end of the day, the game is, unlike school, I tell my sons, forget the scorecard of A, B, C, D, E, F, right? That to me doesn't exist. The scorecard is a number. Every sports has a number. So I say, listen, at the end of the day, that number, which is your net worth, your what you earn, what you make, what you do is kind of your scorecard. So I say, you know what? I learned from losing. Hope again, I'm not trying to go too long, John. That's kind of that.
No, that's perfect. Here's an interesting concept with that. Is when you're always winning, that means that you're at the top of your field. I have been told that if you're the smartest person in your room, find a new room. It's just like this. If you're out there and win, okay, if I go out and I play air hockey, with my family. I'm going to destroy every one of them. Kate, we don't need your comments right now. I'm going to destroy every one of them every single time, never failing.
Including breaking fingers, just adding.
You win by all cost, by any means necessary. But the thing is, even with something like that, and of course I picked on something that's irrelevant with air hockey, but when you're working to level up, you find those better than you. You know, with me leveling up with speaking and being on stage, I put myself in situations where the people are better than me. I was just at an event a couple of weeks ago, and there were some dynamic speakers there. There were, in fact, our MC is on here now. There were some incredible speakers there. And the thing is, always level up. You're not losing because you're not the best. Just get better with everything. Always get better. What about you, Mr. Peter Ross? Welcome, our real estate investor, Peter Ross.
Thank you for having me. So what's more important? I would say it's probably more important for me to minimize losing. I am still fresh investing in real estate, so I do as much research and I do the math multiple times to minimize loss as much as possible, because I don't have a lot of cushion, you know what I mean? But I actually just put this in my book that I'm writing, is that my failures in life were the best experiences, because those are the lessons that you carry with you, and that for some reason our minds psychologically remember negative experiences better than good ones. And you can actually learn the most from your losses. So right now I'm trying to minimize loss, but yeah, I would say that's going to be the best answer I have for today.
Very good. Great answer. This episode is brought to you by The Unscripted Event. Check us out at theunscriptedevent.com. Finally, an event made by you for you. February 25th and 26th, 2023. Mr. Colin Stack, what's most important to you? Winning or not losing?
Hey, what's going on? That's a great question. So I would definitely agree that it's both. It's a mixture of winning and not losing. But you know, I've gone through a lot of this the last couple years, I would say, of my life in business. Sometimes the losing, right, emotionally, physically, financially, can get you in the moment. But a lot of the opportunities, the ideas, the creativity, and the ability to create, right, comes from that pain, comes from the trials and tribulations that you didn't know because you weren't aware of it, because you didn't plan on losing, quote unquote, right? So to me, it's been insightful, to say the least, because there's a lot of things that I've thought of and applied and looked to and studied and built that a couple years ago I never thought that way, right? To the point where when you're always winning and you do something and you win and you do something and you win, you kind of get in this position where it's like, okay, this is the only blueprint, or this is the only way to achieve what I'm looking to achieve. But in all reality, there's many ways to win the race, right? Just as an example. So yeah, I would say it's definitely both. It's, you know, winning's great, winning's necessary, but a lot of the biggest wins that I've had and having definitely came from losing before I actually was able to win the race.
Absolutely. And you appreciate it more, I feel. Whenever you've lost, you go at it and you lose and you lose and you lose, and then you win. It gives that euphoric high of, oh, this is what it's like. I mean, it just raises you up a bar. Ricardo.
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely appreciate it more.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Ricky Ricardo, good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning, John. How you doing?
Blessed and unstoppable. I'm not the only one on here with that either. I must give credit to Steve Harrison, though. That's who I stole it from.
Yeah, that's my brother there.
Absolutely.
I'm just hearing this this topic because for some reason me and Messenger don't always get along, so I don't always get on there to get the topic before we get on. So I'm going to use the best analogy that I have from playing sports years ago, and I do agree with what's been said previously. I think a lot of it has to do with perspective, because there's a lot to be gained from losing. I think the mindset, like someone who's playing, let's say football, if you're a team that's ahead right now, you've done all these things to get ahead, and then you get ahead of this team, and your focus changes from winning to just trying not to lose. You don't take the same chances. You don't press as hard. You don't call the same plays or do the same things that it took to get to a point of winning. So you now at this point have become vulnerable to someone who's focused on winning. So they continue to do the things, or they do the things that you were not doing. And then what happens a lot of times is you begin to look at the one that's behind you, or your competitor, or another company that's competing in the same field. You begin to look in the rearview mirror, and then there's this anxiousness or this nervousness that takes place, and then you begin to make decisions that wouldn't be the decisions you made if you were focused on winning. Now your shift is there's a shift, and you begin to focus on losing, and so you begin to make frantic decisions, trying not to get caught, instead of doing the things that you did initially in order to just continue winning. So if my mind is on winning, I'm not really worried about losing because I'm just focused on winning. And yes, there are things to be gained in losing. And I think I talked to Steve about this the other day. I don't necessarily, and I understand what people mean when they say winning. I mean, gaining knowledge from failing. I don't think there's ever a failure unless you quit and walk away without a lesson. Anytime you learn on a journey that you're on or in doing something, if it doesn't succeed, if you walk away with something that allows you to succeed when you go back at it again and go into this next thing that you do, then it becomes another brick in the wall, rather than you quitting because I couldn't build the wall. Well, you don't build the wall all at once, you build it a brick at a time. So I take a lesson from this. And so if I got a lesson or I got a brick, I didn't really fail. I just hadn't completed the wall.
That's awesome. You were, what you were talking about reminded me of a topic we had a couple of weeks ago of what you focus on grows. Are you focused on winning? Are you focused on being first place? Or are you focused on just not losing? Which, I don't know if anybody here is a NASCAR fan, but you have 42 cars on the track. There's a thing to win, you're in first place, but there's also a thing to win by being consistent. You consistently rank in the top 5, in the top 10 every single week, and you never come in first place in a single race. There's still a real good chance you're going to be the champion that year because of the consistency. Even though you did not win a single race, you still won the overall championship, the overall prize. So, there's a lot to this of looking at winning versus losing, but what you said is absolutely right. You focus on, I'm not going to lose. So what does that mean if you're NASCAR? You crashed your car after somebody else did, so they came in 42nd and you came in 41st. I mean, to me, you're still a loser, but you're 41st place loser, but that's not the topic here. So it is about perspective again. Good morning, Ken. Welcome. Miss Juanita Cap, all the way from South Africa. We have 3 different countries represented here today, right now. Juanita, what's most important to you? Winning or not losing? All right. Same question, Patty Lou. Good morning. What's most important to you, winning or not losing? And she's a sports psychologist, so this will be great.
Winning, because if you're playing not to lose, I tell athletes this all the time. You start to hesitate, you start to think rather than just go for it and let it happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Absolutely. So, Mr. Ken, good morning, buddy. All the way from California.
Good
See,
morning. Good morning.
There's no time excuses. We have California and we have Nevada on the West Coast.
Very good.
6 a.m. So what's most important to you, buddy? Winning or not losing?
I think it kind of depends. I feel like a lot of people are so focused on, hey, let's win, let's put everything out there. And you can still lose even when you play to win. Whereas sometimes if, you know, you are kind of behind the eight ball, your whole idea is let's just not lose this. Let's protect ourselves. But by the same token, when you do that, you do create a space where you might not play as big as you should. So I think it just kind of depends on the situation that you're looking at the moment.
I agree. And, you know, getting back to my NASCAR example, I hope at least one person in here is a NASCAR fan, so you understand what I'm talking about. But say you come up to the very last race of the season and it's you versus somebody else as far as points. And it's just like a point that's going to stop you. And the rules of NASCAR have changed since I've watched it. So if I'm talking out of term, just play with me. But at the end of the season, all you have to do is finish the race and you win the championship. It doesn't matter if you come in 35th place, you still win the championship. At that point, you know, your focus might be on just not losing, not coming in 36 or below, and you still win the championship. So like you said, there are multiple ways to look at it. And it also depends on what the situation is that you're currently in. Mr. Jason, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Awesome, Jonathan. I appreciate the topic. Appreciate you driving this. Like Ricky Bobby said, if you ain't first, you're last.
There you go. That's my thought process.
So, but at the same time, if you're first at the moment, like you said, and you're local, you know, if you're doing triathlons, your local tri group, you're the fastest cyclist, you're as fast as this, like you said, go find a bigger group. Because if you're not failing forward on a consistent basis, you're not growing and you're learning lessons. So both are important. Like I would mirror what everyone said, that both are important, that the losses are the catalyst to push us forward. Right. And the more willing we are to fail, the more willing we are to be courageous, the more willing we are to step through our fear, the higher our ceiling goes. Probably challenge everyone in the room, wherever you're at today, no matter how successful you are, there's another level. Right. And it's really looking at yourself and saying, okay, I did this. That's pretty badass. I'm going to measure back against what I've done up to this point. But how do I get myself, my body and my mind to jump every time there's that opportunity that comes? How can I get the little wins? How can I, you know, not even by necessity, we started taking cold showers this month. And now like for the first week, it was like, okay, I got a toe in, I got an arm in. And now it's just like, okay, it's on, I get in and I get out. And just like, and that gives you the winning. Like that tells my inner self that, hey, I could step into the shower whenever I want to, because my mindset, I'm doing it. My body doesn't want to, but I did it. A little tiny win stacks and stacks and stacks, as we talked about the bricks in the wall. So both important, but Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last. So
second place is first place loser, right?
There you go. My two favorite racing quotes are that and rubbing is racing. I think that was from Tom Cruise, and I forget what the movie was. That was an old one, old NASCAR.
Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
My wife's a movie buff, by all means. Michelle, good morning. I think she's in Canada. Is that correct?
I'm actually at the Philippines, but hello, Canada. Well, I'm aiming to go to Canada. I hope so. Well, to elaborate what they said, everyone's right. Yeah, I agree. And I guess we really have to accept disappointments at some sort, but we should not never lose hope, because that's how are we going to move forward. I actually love to feel fear in my life. I actually want to challenge myself, like, oh my God, I'm afraid to lose, but I have to win. So I really want to feel that energy in my body rushing in, that, I have to do this, I have to do that. So I really have to motivate myself to keep pushing forward. So I really have to weigh everything, and that's how I will win, probably some sort.
That's awesome. And you will win. She's amazing. And you know, here's one interesting thing about winning that people oftentimes will start doing something and they don't see immediate results. I don't care if you're talking weight loss, if you're talking a business, if you're talking fill in your own personal blank. And it's like, I didn't win today. I didn't do anything. And I have those days. I talk with my wife about this frequently. It's like, I got nothing done today. And then the next day, I got nothing done today. And then the next day, it seems like I did 10 days worth of work in one day. It's because each day you're stacking a little bit here. They don't have to be massive gains. People look at, and I say people as a universal term, so it's not true for everybody, but it's very easy to get caught up in looking at this person. Well, my book's right behind me. I've sold, I don't know how many books I've sold. I have no idea. I've sold 100 books, let's just say. But Stephen King has sold 100 million books. Okay, so what? You know, each little sale is a win. Each little sale is a way to touch somebody else and impact somebody else. So just one little step after another will lead to very big steps. Lisa Manzo, good morning.
Good morning.
What is most important to you, winning or not losing?
Okay, I like to win. And in the same breath, it doesn't always happen. So I'm grateful when it happens and I get to celebrate it. And when it doesn't happen, I just take a look back. Okay, what could I have done different? So I could have won because I want to be better. And it makes me a better person. And I'm always winning, whether I'm winning or not losing, I'm always winning as long as I look back and say, hey, okay, what could I have done different? How could I have made it better? And the next time, okay, I have a different plan. So I'm always winning.
I love that perspective again. It's always about perspective. And sometimes, is it okay to let other people win? I was just recently in Las Vegas and I let Lisa win not once, but twice at mini golf. Anyway, we had a good time with it. So again, this morning's Monday morning AM call is brought to you by The Unscripted Event. Find out more at theunscriptedevent.com. Finally, an event made by you and for you. We look forward to seeing you there, and we look forward to seeing you again next Monday morning at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody have a blessed week.